Alright, well this has turned into a lot bigger job than I initially expected, but it's still got to be done. It was totally impossible to get the cam gear off without removing the oil pump, and to remove the oil pump you got to remove the oil pan. So that's where we are now. In hindsight, it probably would have been much easier to just pull the motor right off the bat and drop the pan and do the work and reinstall the motor. But and I might still have to pull the motor to put this back together easily. It was a little bit of a fight to get the pan off, so I either got to jack the motor up to make more room, because it does not have a gasket. It's got RTV, so that's got to be a nice bead on there, and you can't slide it around as you're reinstalling it. So I'm either going to jack the motor up to make more room, like I said, or just pull the motor out totally still. But to get the pan off, I got the cam gear off. I'll lower the car down, we'll check it out. So here's the view from up top. Like I said, I got the cam gear off, oil pump off, and not in that order. Oil pump off first, cam gear off. Timing chain comes with the cam gear, of course. But that's where we're at now. Next is to slide the cam out and see if that's going to clear. And there she is, finally, after all that work. All that was just to remove this cam. What a fight. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but if you look in through the cam hole, these LT motors have piston squirters. You can actually see the front one right there. I was just going to do a quick update here and showing how the limiting block gets installed in the cam phaser. It's pretty easy. You get the comp cams kit. It comes with this locking plate. You just put it on there. Use a ratchet to pull it up. Hook this retainer on the one lug here, and you actually just follow the directions. They're pretty detailed, but you loosen this bolt first, which is this bolt actually holds that spring, if you can see down in there, from moving. So this is the retainer for the spring. So the first bolt past that clockwise is this one. You never remove that bolt. That actually has another pin bolt like this, but it goes in between the springs and keeps it from unraveling. Well, this one keeps it from unraveling, but that keeps it in place. So the first thing you do, loosen this up a half turn, take these bolts out. They're right here. Take them out. Then you take this one completely out, and then you just hinge this over, and then the inner workings are exposed. Normally you would put a smaller block in, but with my particular cam, Texas Speed actually sent a 0 degree block, which actually locks this thing out completely. So you put it in the chamber here, slide that in first, slide that in there. You can see how tight that fits in there. There's a tiny bit of movement, but it pretty much locks this thing from working at all. So that's really it. Once you have the block in there, you pivot this back over. Of course, the bolt with the tang off the end is going to go back in this hole that holds that spring right there where your retainer is. We're going to reinstall these bolts, and they get tightened to, I believe it's 85 inch-pounds. Yep, everything's in the directions. They're pretty detailed. Sliding the new cam in now. Definitely always lube it up. It's hard to film as you're using both hands to put the cam in, but I have a head bolt in the end. It doesn't screw in, but it does give you some leverage, a little bit of length there to control the cam as it goes in. But definitely lube the cam up good. That'll keep it lubricated until it fires up and you get oil pressure. Cam's in, front retainers on, torqued down with blue Loctite. think it's 11 foot-pounds, if I remember correctly. Timing gear can be a real pain to get on with that small dowel pin on the cam. The cam wants to keep sliding back, and it doesn't give you much to line it up. So it can just be a little bit of a fight. You keep moving it around a little bit, and I guess the way I did it was put the cam sprocket on there, made it up to the cam, pull the cam out, and spin it around to where the timing mark should line up without the chain on. Pull it back off, put the chain on, and it can still be finicky, but you'll eventually get it. Marks are lined up. Chains on, bolts in. I still have to torque the bolt. We might as well unbox the head from Texas Speed that did show up. They do box them very well. They have an exterior box, interior box, and then they pack them up pretty good with some packing. So let me get it pulled out of there and we'll take a peek at it and see how it looks. Unboxed here. They cut the deck for sure. You can see, nice and clean. Nice finish too. They actually didn't do anything in the combustion chamber, which I thought they did. I think the LS3 heads they did. But they definitely did port work everywhere else. Start around here. We'll get a light down the exhaust side. See, it's nice and smooth. Definitely opened up. Cut around the valve guide. Right in there to the valve. It has their pack 660 lift springs, dual spring kit, and I think they're titanium retainers. All that looks good. And let's see the intake side. Oh yeah. Looks good. So here's a quick look at the combustion chamber on the LT1. Of course, intake, exhaust valve, spark plug, and here's the direct injection injector hole. It's just kind of neat to see the relationship of all of that. The injector spring it right towards the spark plug. Intake is drawing in air, and all that mixes right into the cylinder. Piston actually has a little indent right in the center of it where that fuel comes and sprays around the top of the piston. I have the pan prepped. That's another issue, is the sealer that they put on these things takes forever to scrape down and clean up. I think I got it looking pretty nice. I'm gonna wipe it down with some cleaner and get it ready to go back in, put the rubber seals back in for the oil filter adapter and for the oil pump pickup. And show you underneath how it's looking. So I got the motor jacked up, both motor mounts loosened, and then the bracket for the passenger side motor mount is unbolted from the block and kind of pushed up to the side. That gives you, there's cross bolts going to the side of the pan, which make it extremely difficult if you don't take that off to get that back in there. And remember, you have sealer on there, and if you scrape it, it's going to mess up your seal. So a nice straight shot is what you need, and from what I see, that's the only way to do it with the motor still in the car. Alright, got the oil pan back on. We're buttoning everything up underneath. Bunch of clips and brackets and plugs and all that mess. Moving right along now. We got the bouncer on, pulled in, torqued down. That's all good. Got all the lifters in, lifter trays, torqued down. I got the fuel pump lifter in the back there. It's in, torqued down. Got the valley plugs for the AMF delete. They're installed. We're getting ready. I have the surfaces cleaned, head surfaces. and the deck surfaces, so getting ready to just wipe them down with some cleaner, and we'll be ready to throw the heads on here and start torquing them down. It's coming together nicely. Heads are on, torqued down. Actually got the headers on too. They fit really nice actually. Plenty of clearance. Only thing I'll have to do is move that wire loom over a little bit. It's a little close, but as far as fitment, they fit extremely well. Getting ready to do the Valvetrain now. We got a water pump on, belts on, valve cover on, everything's tightened down. We got the fuel injection system in there, high pressure fuel pump in the back, fuel rails on, everything tightened up. Getting ready to throw. This is like a sound deadening material. Goes under the intake, covers up all that fuel injection system. Do that and the intake is ready to go on. Alright, we pretty much got everything wrapped up up top, and we got our headers on. See them coming down here. We're getting ready to finish up the rest of the exhaust. Here is the Texas Speed connection pipe. It's got small cats on it. It's got an X pipe. It's 3-inch. These are little extension pipes that go on there. One thing I'm not real sure though is why they didn't come back a little further. Of course, you got to connect to the headers. You come back. There is an X pipe here from the factory, and I assume that's why they chose to reuse it. But if you come back here, GM put some heavy crimps around the differential. There's not really any reason for it. They probably did it for heat reasons, but you know, there's a ton of room there. So it would have been nice if Texas Speed would have continued back with their X pipe, you know, back here to the muffler entry or something like that. The 5th gen car I did, we used the stock mufflers, and that's what they did. They came back almost to the muffler entry, within a few inches of it anyway. But I'm probably going to cut these flat spots out and put 3-inch straight pipe through there just to clean that up a little bit. Alright, we got it on there. Went fairly easy, pretty straightforward. Comes back, here's where you do the joining on the factory pipes. I pulled this brace off just to make it quicker and easier. It goes back on. There's still some room through there. It is actually a little tight, but overall it's pretty it fits pretty nice. Up on the passenger side header, this heat shield was a little bit close, but all I did was put my hand up there and just molded it around a little bit, and it's plenty of clearance now. This oxygen sensor, of course, plugs right in. This one, they give you an extension, but if you can see up in there, the factory harness actually has a loop in it, and it's zip tied back, and we're real close. I'm pretty sure if I take that loop out, it'll plug in without the extension, because the extension's like 18 inches long or so. 18 to 24 inches long. It's actually over here. Yeah, it might be 24 inches long. So it's going to have a lot that needs tied up. So if I can just undo that zip tie and plug this one in, then we'll do that. But overall, it went together nice. It's got a ball flange at the headers. The rear O2s, there's the plug. We'll probably do the same thing, flip that around and plug them in. I don't think they're able to actually be used. I think they need to be tuned out. It does have cats, but they're tiny cats, and I guess they're just kind of on there to be legal. One thing I do like to do on my systems is put a little safety tack at each connection. If you need to take it apart, you can just buzz right through it, but there's one there, one there, one there, one there, and then back here, one there, one there. Just keeps these things from rotating. And these clamps do a pretty good job sealing, but not so much of a good job from rotating. So that keeps that from rotating and separating. Now I'm going to work on these flat spots. I took and cut this section out. You can see how ridiculously flat spotted it is. No idea why they decided to do that. I've heard a lot of people complain about it though. One of the issues is there's a hanger right here, and it's also flat spotted through the hanger. So what I'm going to try and do is heat that up and get it roughly back into shape with some vice grips when it's hot, and then hammer and dolly it around a little bit. This side's not as bad. Tiny flat spot. I can work with that. Then I have a piece of, somewhere around here, a piece of 3-inch pipe that I'm going to put in there, overlap it a little bit, and just weld it up. And there we have it. We got the flat spot pieces out. Well, the 3-inch pipe in there turned out pretty good. No more flat spots, go straight back. The factory pipe's not quite 3-inch, it's probably 2 3/4, 2 7/8, but the 3-inch slides over nicely and you can weld it. So now we're at least factory size without the crushed pipe all the way back to the muffler. Worked out good. Alright, I think we have it all back together. Pretty sure. Well, we don't have all the covers and stuff on, but far enough to see if it runs. Got coolant topped off. I'm sure it's going to go down some, but coolant topped off, oil topped off. Everything's tight. Air intake's on. We should be ready. Let's hit the button, see if it fires up. I'll set you back here, see what it sounds like. Quite a difference. I'm surprised it's actually idling, but oh, there it goes. Not extremely well. No tune on it yet at all, so. It goes tomorrow morning to get tuned. Get good oil pressure, charging, everything in here looks to be good. Definitely got some loop to it.